What is good, IE Sports Radio fans? It is your boy, the SoCal Saint, on this beautiful Thursday morning. I know it's like a take two. You're having a little bit of deja vu, but your boy is back live here on Spreaker for the real WrestleMania recap edition of my show, the IE Wrestling Show. What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for understanding about what took place yesterday. I know I announced it on the show. I'm going to get a little bit personal real quick before I go into my show, because you are my loyal listeners, and I do appreciate everything that you guys have done for me as far as continuing to listen to my show, showing some love, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. I really do appreciate it. It is the month of April, and for those who don't know, April is considered Autism Awareness Month. And I would like to think that myself, especially myself, and my fellow podcasters of IE Sports Radio would love to share in celebrating Autism Awareness Month. I, myself, am an autism dad. My son is 10 years old. He's nonverbal, and he's on the spectrum. But man, that boy is smart. I love my son very, very much. Me and him have such a tight, special bond with each other. I'm trying not to get too emotional when I talk about him. But, I love that little boy with all my heart and soul. And he is going through a transition right now. He's just started, by the grace of God, we were blessed with my insurance covering his ABA, that stands for Applied Behavioral Analysis Therapy, which has been beneficial to many people on the spectrum who have autism. That my insurance, thanks to my job, is covering it 100%. And these type of services can become very expensive if you don't have insurance. And he has been there a little over a month, and it's just been a transition. It's him getting accustomed to the new setting, and he's been having just a rough go at it. And he had a bit of a trying day yesterday, so I had to leave abruptly as soon as I started my show to go attend to my son and to be with him and just make sure he was okay. That is why I had to abruptly, cancel the show as I just started it. I know it goes without saying, I probably didn't owe anyone an explanation as to why, but I just wanted to share that with y'all because for anybody that's listening, possibly I get, my IE Sports Radio family, if you guys are listening live right now, that is the reason, and my son is my whole world. He will always come first before anything, before my job, before this show, even as much as I love doing it. And I would love to think that my IE Sports Radio family would celebrate Autism Awareness Month. I am an autism dad, and that's my story. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let's jump into it. If you're tuning in, guys, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the WrestleMania recap of the IE Wrestling Show. Man, WrestleMania weekend was fucking fantastic, guys. And real quick, before we get into it, please follow me on the X at IE Wrestling Show. That's at IE Wrestling Show. And please follow IE Sports Radio at IE Sports Radio on the X as well. Do yourself a favor, and also please check out our awesome website at iesportsradio.com. You can join for free, and you can interact with all the hosts of all the awesome IE Sports Radio shows. And if you really love what we do and you want to throw some shekels our way to show your appreciation for us, please go to our merch store and buy some IE Sports Radio merch. Buy a shirt, buy a hat. And if you're a fan of my show, please go to the Spreaker, the official Spreaker page. at Spreaker.com / let me pull up the link to make sure I get it correct. I don't want to mess that up. www.spreaker.com / podcast / the-IE wrestling show. And there will be a link there that says support the show. And for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, guys, less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, that's $5 a month. If you click on that link, if you love what I do and you want to, show your appreciation for me and the show to help us grow, help IE Sports Radio grow, help, all of us grow. If you want to help my show grow, just to try and get our reach out there a little bit stronger, a little bit vaster, a little bit wider, $5 a month is all. Is all we're asking. You won't even notice it if you put it on automatic withdrawal. You won't even notice the $5 leaving your bank account every single month. You don't have to. I don't want to come off as if I'm, sitting here begging, but I'm just asking if you appreciate what we do and you want to show that appreciation. $5 a month is all we're asking for here at the IE Wrestling Show. It's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, guys. You won't even notice the automatic withdrawal in your bank account every month when it's taken out. So go to Spreaker.com / podcast / the-IE wrestling show, and you can click on the link that says support here or support now or support the show. I can't remember exactly what it says, but I know the word support is in there. So check it out, guys, please. And on the other platforms that the show is a part of, hit a like, a share, a subscribe on either Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Hit a like, a share, a subscribe, and it'll help us in the long run. It really will. I do appreciate all of you, each and every one of you loyal listeners for the IE Wrestling Show. And please check out our official sponsor for the IE Sports Radio brand. That is, of course, Planet Jerky. Go to planetjerky.net and order yourself some 100% beef brisket, beef jerky. It is muy delicioso. Check it out. Order yourself some delicious beef jerky today at planetjerky.net. Planet Jerky. This jerky is on a whole other planet. Ooh, yeah. And guys, what a WrestleMania weekend it was. But again, before we get started, I'm bouncing all over the place. Stay tuned today on IE Sports Radio. We got a nice little 4-show schedule for you, starting with moi. You're listening to me right now. I am live right now, the IE Wrestling Show with yours truly, the SoCal Saint. After my show goes off the air at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will get the New York State of Sports coming at you. And later on in the evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you get the Magic City Scoreboard Show. And then to cap off the night, we got the Extra Mile coming to you live at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Extra Mile, check it out, guys. That's a 4-block show today. Four block shows today for you on the IE Sports Radio schedule. So if you love what we do, stick around all day. Just keep it live so you don't miss anything here on IE Sports Radio. And I just want to address something real quick. I think it goes without saying, and it would be a detriment to my loyal listeners if I don't comment on this before jumping into my WrestleMania weekend recap. So last night on AEW Dynamite, I usually don't speak about AEW that much here on the show, and lately it's been highly negative because it's just been all negative coming from that fan base and that company. And yet again, they cease to amaze me. Last night, during WrestleMania weekend, Tony Khan, that clown, that clown shoe of a boss, put on the social media, the interwebs, that he was going to release the Brawl-In footage from All In London in response to the CM Punk interview with Ariel Helwani that took place last week on the MMA Hour, Ariel Helwani's official podcast and YouTube show. Punk commented. He answered the questions. He was very articulate. He was very forthcoming. He didn't try to divert the conversation. He spoke very frankly about what took place in London with his backstage fight with Jungle Boy Jack Perry, which led to him, which apparently, if you believe Tony Khan's side of the story, is where Tony Khan feared for his life because of what happened. And they released the CCTV footage, which is the security camera footage from Wembley Stadium. No audio, just the video footage of the confrontation between Jungle Boy Jack Perry and CM Punk. CM Punk has not been a AEW contracted wrestler since August of last year. And CM Punk is still being relied on for a ratings pop. I cannot wait for the ratings numbers to come out today, and I highly doubt they cracked 1 million. I wouldn't even be. I would be shocked if they even cracked 800,000 views or viewers for last night's episode, because last night's episode of Dynamite was an absolute clusterfuck of a show. They relied too heavily on WWE when their whole existence is anti-WWE. You even had that fucking bruv, that joke of a bruv, Will Ospreay, coming out and cutting a promo on the chief creative officer of WWE, Paul Triple H Levesque, a guy who will never work for AEW. And you're in a feud with Bryan Danielson, but you take your promo time to respond to comments that Triple H made on the Pat McAfee show, where he never directly called you out. He never said anyone's name. Triple H was speaking in generalities, in just an overshadowing opinion that any wrestler that doesn't want to come to WWE and work their schedule is not about the grind, as Triple H put it. I don't want you. That was a very frank opinion. That's his opinion. He did not comment on anyone. He didn't say Okada. He didn't say Ospreay. He didn't say Mercedes Moné. He didn't even say fucking Kenny Omega. He didn't say anyone's name. He just was speaking in generalities, as in wrestling as a whole, wrestlers as a whole. If you're not about it, don't come here. If you're not about it, I don't want to work with you, is what basically Triple H said. And Will Ospreay took it upon himself to comment and take a juvenile shot at Triple H, a very stupid juvenile shot. You could hear the groans in the arena and the groans all over anyone watching at home. It was just really fucking stupid. And there's this beautiful shot somebody screenshotted of Renee Paquette. Of course, Renee used to work for WWE under the name Renee Young. She is the wife of AEW's Jon Moxley. Renee, you could just see it on her face. It was just like, ugh. Like, she was just so, ugh, over it. Like, you could just see her opinion. Like, she had it was written all over her face. The disgust and shame and embarrassment of being a part of such a stupid, stupid segment with Will Ospreay, commenting on a guy who doesn't work for the company, will never work for the company. You're in a feud with a wrestler who is contracted for your company, and you barely mention him. How fucking stupid is that? Anyway, again, AEW relying on CM Punk with this footage, and CM Punk was very frank about what happened between him and Jack Perry, and all this footage did was verify that Punk was telling the truth on the MMA Hour. He was not being untruthful in any way. Literally, Ariel even had a video up where it was a side-by-side comparison. It was the footage, it was CM Punk from his show talking about what happened, and it literally verbatim, everything that Punk was saying was happening as the video was progressing. And that was it. I hope Tony Khan and Matt and Nick Jackson feel really good about themselves, because all you're doing is just continuing the downfall of All Elite Wrestling. This brand of professional wrestling was something that I was very eager about. Larry B., the head honcho of IE Sports Radio, ask him, ask anyone at the time of the launch of AEW back in 2019, I was all for it. My buddy, my former co-host, Matt Petrushka, he was all for it. That's all we talked about. We were so psyched that we were finally getting an actual alternative to the WWE here in the United States, because I know for a while there, me and him were just focusing on New Japan Pro Wrestling and, Ring of Honor, because at the time, a lot of our favorite wrestlers were competing those companies. For me, particularly, was Cody Rhodes. More on him later, but yeah, I was so psyched about AEW and the potential it could, good it could do for the professional wrestling business. Let's speed up 5 years later. It is now 2024. WWE is the top of the mountain. They are and the best they've ever been creatively. Vince McMahon, that evil piece of shit, is gone from the company. Triple H is in charge of the company as far as creatively. The Rock is on the board of directors. He is one of the bosses of WWE now. He is on the board of directors for TKO. I mean, what? Who would have saw this coming 5 years down the line from the launch of AEW? Did I ever think AEW was going to overtake WWE? Of course not. I'm a realist. I'm not living in a fantasy world thinking that a brand new company was going to, decimate the WWE. No. There's absolutely no way. They have about a 30, 40 year start. There's no way. Did I think they were going to be viable competition? Of course I did. But not now. They cannot fill arenas anywhere they go for any of their television shows. The last time they had a sellout was Sting's retirement at AEW Revolution, a pay-per-view, which, good. Sting deserved to retire in front of an arena full of people. But leading up to that, Sting was competing in front of, 15,000, 13,000, 10,000 seat arenas that are only occupied by 2,000 to 3,000 people, if that. Half to two-thirds of an arena are completely empty, week in and week out. Don't believe me? Look up the screenshots, look up the videos of people that are actually there in attendance filming the arena, and you'll see for yourself. So AEW goes ahead and plays this footage, and everyone is just criticizing them. Even their staunchest of defenders, fucking Tuna Meltzer and Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, they can't even come to AEW or Tony Khan's defense on this one. They're like, it was a bad idea. They shouldn't ever have done this. So much negative shit is coming from this. You got cultists who clearly see that Punk was telling the truth. It's verbatim, like I said, that video, I wish that video was still up, but apparently Ariel Helwani tweeted that a lawyer from Jacksonville hit him up and told him it had to be taken down. AEW is now even embarrassed that they did this because they've been hitting copyright strikes left and right all over X after it aired. I'm surprised I can still find it on Facebook and on YouTube. On YouTube, they didn't even play the footage. They just have the promo of the Young Bucks that was introed before the footage or after the footage. I wasn't watching. I saw the footage though. It just makes you look desperate, sad, second rate. And there's another awesome screenshot that's floating around. Besides the look of disgust and disappointment and embarrassment of Renee Paquette, you get the same look of disgust and embarrassment on one Tony Schiavone. Legendary commentator in the world of professional wrestling, was with WCW for years. He went down with the ship when WCW was sold to the WWE in 2001. Somebody had a side-by-side comparison for Tony Schiavone that they screenshotted and put them together. It was a screenshot of Tony Schiavone from Bash at the Beach in the year 2000, the night that Hulk Hogan was basically told to, take his ball and go home by Vince Russo. Probably one of the most embarrassing nights ever in WCW's history. And then you have Tony Schiavone's same exact look of disgust and embarrassment last night on AEW Dynamite after the footage was shown on AEW Dynamite. And then they had fans, they're even copywriting or trying to copyright strike fans' videos from inside the arena of them filming when the footage was shown on their video screen. I think it had the opposite effect, because they weren't booing CM Punk. They were cheering CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. If you thought that this footage was going to turn things around and have everyone on your side, Tony Khan, Nick, and Matt Jackson, you guys are fucking idiots. Just so fucking dumb. Really, really stupid. And that's all I want to put on that. I'm done. I don't want to talk about it anymore today. Let's get into real professional wrestling. Real entertaining professional wrestling. Let's jump into the WrestleMania recap for this weekend, guys. And we're going to start it off with the Hall of Fame. The 2024 class of the WWE Hall of Fame. What an awesome Hall of Fame it was. And I was a little surprised that they kicked off the Hall of Fame ceremony with the headliner. I thought he was going to be saved for last, but they let Paul Heyman go out there first. Roman came out, the tribal chief, at the time, still the undisputed WWE champion, came out and gave a really solid speech about Paul Heyman, what he's been to, what he means to his career, and Roman had a very awesome quote that he said, "There would be no tribal chief without the wise man." You know, just giving all the flowers to Paul Heyman. And then he introduced the man, the myth, the legend, the wise man. "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman." He comes out and it's awesome. It's in Philly, of course. Die-hard ECW fans, of course, because that is the city that ECW built. That is where ECW reigned supreme for many, many years in Philly. Just down the road from the Wells Fargo Center is the 2300 Arena, better known to us old school wrestling fans as the ECW Arena. And, of course, very fittingly, Paul Heyman came out to the old ECW theme song, "This Is Extreme." He came out, and you see him dart right to the wrestlers that were in attendance for the Hall of Fame ceremony, fellow WWE Hall of Famer and ECW legend himself, former ECW champion Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam. They embrace in an awesome hug. And if you looked really closely, like I was paying attention to everyone that was there. Former ECW valet Dawn Marie was in attendance in the same row with Van Dam. Across from Van Dam was Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley. Even little Spike Dudley was there. Al Snow, the co-owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling, was in attendance for Paul Heyman's induction into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. It was very befitting of the mastermind of ECW. And Paul went on to put on speak on just an awesome speech. What an awesome speech Paul Heyman gave. He gave all the flowers to Stephanie McMahon, who we haven't seen in a very long time on any WWE television. It was very nice to see her. She was looking beautiful as ever. I have a soft spot for Stephanie in my heart. She was like one of my first wrestling crushes when I was a little kid. I still absolutely have a crush for that woman. She is just, to me, she's just absolutely gorgeous. I will always have a special crush for Stephanie McMahon, married or not. The both of us. Don't let my wife hear that. Anyway, and it was really nice, very befitting. She was wearing a backwards leather cap like she did back in the day during the Alliance storyline of the summer of 2001. And it had in gold letters ECW scrawled right across the forehead. of the hat, which was very awesome, very befitting of her. Sitting right next to her husband, of course, Paul Levesque, Triple H, who Paul Heyman gave all the flowers to and said something just so poignant and so just awesome, where he said that, he gave, this man basically singing the praises of Triple H for getting us out of the trenches without saying what they were. I mean, we all knew what he was talking about. He was talking about the fucking terrible shitstorm that Vince McMahon coming back to the company, and then this sex trafficking, sex abuse allegations forthcoming about Vince McMahon, and just all this negativity surrounding that man's name, where he is the Voldemort of professional wrestling now. I think he's definitely Chris Benoit levels of persona non grata right now in the world of professional wrestling, at least in the world of WWE. And he gave all the praise to Triple H, saying that I will forever be a Paul Levesque guy. And you could just see the actual emotion on Triple H. He was blushing. I think he was fighting back, holding back tears. And Paul went over to shake his hand, and they shared some words that we could not hear. It was just between them. It was very touching. I almost got choked up hearing that, and then I got choked up later in his speech where he was wishing that his mother and his father, who are no longer with us, Paul Heyman, he wished that they could be there, and then he turned to Cody Rhodes, and he said, "I wish that your father was here to see this," and that was. Oh God, I'm getting choked up again, just thinking about that, because you can see Cody getting choked up, and Dusty and Paul had a really touching relationship during the late '90s. One of the final solid years of ECW. In the last couple of years that ECW was around, Dusty Rhodes had a short-lived stint in ECW. He even made it into one of ECW's video games, ECW Anarchy Rules, which was the second and last ECW video game that ever came out for the PlayStation 1. He gave Dusty a job when Dusty definitely needed it. They were broke. Cody Rhodes has spoke on this in a promo on Raw. They had $100 in their bank account for everyone, and Paul paid Dusty handsomely for Dusty's expertise, Dusty's legendary status, and for Dusty to be a part of ECW for a short time. And Cody Rhodes gave all the love and praise to Paul during that promo because it was sincere, it was real. And that Paul Heyman absolutely loved the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So there's that special bond for Cody and Paul with that. It was just an all-around great speech. Probably one of the best Hall of Fame speeches I've ever heard. Just congratulations to the wise man Paul Heyman. He definitely deserved it. Bull Nakano came out after that. She had a very great speech. Just, it was really, it was a very solid speech, actually. She did very well. Then the U.S. Express, Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, their speech was, it was okay. It did get emotional, especially when talking about the late, great Wyndham Rotunda, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt, the son of Mike Rotunda and the nephew of Barry Windham. They put up their phones, and the fireflies were lit up for Bray. That was how they ended their speech, which was, I thought, very classy. I do hope and expect to see Bray Wyatt inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame next year. I know his career was very short, but his impact will last forever, and I think he will become a WWE Hall of Fame and a Hall of Famer in the future. Muhammad Ali being inducted into the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame, his widow accepting on his behalf, brought out The Rock. It kind of turned in from it was a little odd because it turned from Hall of Fame speech accepting Muhammad Ali's induction to The Rock being presented a custom People's Championship title belt, which Rock would actually bring out with him during WrestleMania on the first night of WrestleMania on WrestleMania Saturday. Anyway, and then Thunderbolt Patterson, his speech was a little, I'm sure, was definitely a little cringe for some people because instead of speaking about his time in professional wrestling, or his his career. I wouldn't say odd, because as a God-fearing man myself, as a Christian man myself, he gave all the praise to the Lord above. Whoever If you don't want to hear this part, you can skip ahead. But whatever you believe, I respect anyone's beliefs. I'm not one of those that is trying to beat you over the head with the Bible. But I am a Christian, and I do believe Christ is our Lord and Savior, and that's what he did. He gave praise to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and that's how he decided to accept his Hall of Fame induction into the WWE. And the final Hall of Fame speaker was, of course, Leah Maivia. It was The Rock inducting his grandmother into the Hall of Fame posthumously, and it was accepted by her daughter, The Rock's mother, Ada Maivia, and which was really it was really emotional. There was a lot of bloodline members, real life bloodline members, a lot of Anoa'i family members in the crowd. I saw Yokozuna's brothers in the crowd. Rikishi was in the crowd. A lot of Samoan dynasty. Haku was there. He's not blood related, but he is considered blood by the Anoa'i family. He's like a, one of those, lifelong, friends that are family. He's like my buddy, my little brother, Tony, back home in Paris. Shout out to you, Tony. And, his parents, I consider them, my family, their family, because we grew up together. They're family. That's like my second mom, my second dad right there. So that's how I look at their relationship with Haku. Just all around great. And then we went in, and that's how the night ended. And then we move on to the next day, actually the next morning / early afternoon, for an awesome, probably one of the best NXT shows ever. It was NXT Stand and Deliver 2024, and it was the biggest live attendance for an NXT event leading up to WrestleMania. I believe it was a sellout. Can't remember what the actual number was. I'm trying to look for that. I do apologize. If I do find that out, I'll bring that to y'all's attention at a later time. But the show kicked off with a pre-show match, which was very solid. Joe Gacy going one-on-one with the chairman, Shawn Spears. And he defeated Shawn Spears in a solid 9-minute match. Then we get to the actual show, kicking off with the NXT Tag Team titles. Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, the Wolf Dogs, successfully defending their their tag team championships against Axiom and Nathan Frazier. That victory would be short-lived, because this past Tuesday on NXT, the first NXT after NXT Stand and Deliver, in a rematch main event for the NXT Tag Team titles, Axiom and Nathan Frazier defeated Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin to win the NXT Tag Team titles in what is now seen as Braun Breaker's final NXT appearance, where he will now be full-time on the SmackDown brand, but maybe for not much longer, because it was announced this coming Monday night, or it was announced this Monday night, that in the coming weeks, I believe it's going to be the final SmackDown and the final Raw of this month, the month of April. The WWE Draft comes back, where all superstars are eligible. They can be traded from Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. That's right, the draft. We're shaking things up, guys. It's a new season. WrestleMania is over. We're going to shake things up a bit. We're going to see some wrestlers moving brands, maybe some champions moving brands. I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe when we get closer to the draft, I'll have a special draft episode of my show where I give you my top 10 picks for each brand, who I would like to see move from SmackDown to Raw, from Raw to SmackDown, from NXT to SmackDown or Raw. We'll get into that later. But anyway, Next match was an awesome match. I even shared one of the craziest moments in that match on X, and I tagged Larry B, and he was just like, "What?" Like, his reaction was really funny. It was the match that I kept talking about. It was the big meaty men slopping meat. It was the NXT North American Championship triple threat match. Oba Femi successfully defended the NXT North American title against Dijak and Josh Briggs in a solid 15-minute match. Announced by the NXT General Manager, Ava, who is the real-life daughter of The Rock. She announced that at a later date, there will be a tournament, I'm sure. They haven't even announced the participants yet. But NXT will now be getting a mid-card women's championship, to the elation of the live crowd in Philly at the Wells Fargo Center. It was actually well received. The women will now get the NXT North American Women's Championship. That's really awesome because they have a loaded roster and they all can't compete for the NXT Women's Championship. I mean, they can, but I mean, like, I feel like the women do deserve a mid-card championship to compete over. I mean, hell, one of the things AEW has done was create a mid-card women's championship, the TBS Championship, which was very famously held first and foremost by new WWE superstar Jade Cargill. So, I mean, what does that tell you? She made that she made that title with her undefeated streak. So, I believe WWE is definitely long overdue for a mid-card women's championship. Hopefully, maybe that'll translate to a mid-card women's championship on the main roster, possibly a women's intercontinental championship or a women's United States championship. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. Coming up next, a very solid 6-woman tag team match. Fallon Henley, Kalani Jordan, and Thea Hale defeated the team of Izzy Dame, JC Jane, and Kiana James by submission. Thea Hale getting the tap-out victory over Izzy Dame with an armbar. Very solid match. This is probably one of the best matches of the weekend. For the NXT Women's Championship, Roxanne Perez successfully defeated Lyra Valkyria to become a 2-time NXT Women's Champion with a submission hold victory over Lyra Valkyria. And then, in another solid, man, just solid after solid after solid, this is when they bring out their best, guys. The NXT Championship, Ilya Dragunov successfully defended the NXT Championship against Tony D'Angelo after hitting his Moscow torpedo, and then a big forearm smash from the middle rope. And the main event, for the first time since SummerSlam 2001, 2 African-American men on the WWE roster main evented a pay-per-view. The last time 2 African-American men main evented a pay-per-view main event for the WWE was SummerSlam 2001, the WCW World Championship, Booker T defending the title against The Rock. That is how long it's been since we've had 2 black men main eventing a pay-per-view for the WWE, and I was so happy to see that it was Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes in an awesome, awesome match. It was well received by the crowd. The fans in Philly really loved Trick, and there was something that I actually came across on Facebook that I thought was really interesting about Trick Williams. I wanted to mention here on today's show that his real name, Matrick Belton, current WWE superstar Trick Williams, once had a brief stint with the Philadelphia Eagles in May of 2018. I didn't even know that. I knew he came from the NFL, but I didn't even know he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. So the live crowd, which was a mixture of hometown and from all around the world fans, really took to Trick Williams in that main event. Excuse me. Trick hit his Trick running knee and pinned Carmelo Hayes 1, 2, 3. But the feud is not over, because next week on NXT, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams will compete in a steel cage match after Trick Williams and Ilya Dragunov already have a date set for the next NXT Premium Live event. I don't know if I think this might be just a special on USA. I don't think it's going to be aired on exclusively on Peacock, but it's NXT Spring Breakin'. Ilya Dragunov will defend the NXT Championship against Trick Williams, and there is a special stipulation for the match. If Trick Williams loses the match, he has to leave NXT. That is the stipulation that he agreed to, and that is what's going to happen. So you got a cage match between Hayes and Mello and Williams, and then Williams has a date with the NXT champion Ilya Dragunov at NXT Spring Breakin'. So that is how WrestleMania Saturday began with the NXT show, and then we come to the first night of the two-night WrestleMania XL, WrestleMania 40, live from Lincoln Financial Field, the home of the Philadelphia Eagles. And what a first night it was, guys. And it was, I think both nights were solid. Just all around fantastic wrestling both nights, guys. And these are the results. The first night, the opening match, was for the WWE Women's World Championship. Mommy Rhea Ripley successfully defended her Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch in an awesome, awesome match. I thought it was great. I heard, a lot of people were criticizing the match. Michael Cole, while Becky actually was making her way down to the ring, had emphasized that Becky is not 100%. She was battling strep throat. So Becky went into this match pretty ill, and she still put out a solid 17-minute match. What a great match it was. Rhea Ripley still dominant, and she has now surpassed a year as Women's World Champion. Congratulations to Rhea Ripley. This next match was so exciting. I was very happy for this match, and it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. Separate the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. Finally, we now have two separate Tag Team champions for both Raw and SmackDown once again. Hallelujah. Let's go, guys. So now all of these tag teams have a chance to compete and become tag team champions once again. We don't have the double titles anymore. It was so fucking awesome to see. During the six-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE tag team titles, A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller pulled the SmackDown tag team titles down first. They are now the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Waller and Theory. And then toward the end of the match, finally getting his due, finally getting his WrestleMania victory, his very first and only WrestleMania victory so far. R-Truth and The Miz, the Awesome Truth, are the new Raw Tag Team Champions. So the titles are now separated. The Raw Tag Team Champions are the Awesome Truth, and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions are A-Town Down Under. In another solid match, we had a tag team match, Rey Mysterio and Andrade, who replaced Dragon Lee, which during the course of my last episode and WrestleMania, Dragon Lee had been taken out by Legado del Fantasma, and he had to be replaced by Andrade in the tag team match that he was originally announced for. So Andrade now, I don't know if he's a full-fledged member of the LWO, but he's definitely an honorary member of the LWO. Rey Mysterio and Andrade, with Carlito and the LWO and Zelina Vega at ringside, defeated Santos Escobar and the Judgment Day's Dirty Dominic Mysterio, with Angel Berto and Elektra Lopez, the Legado del Fantasma at ringside. This match had a lot of solid Lucha Libre wrestling in it. Very traditional in the Lucha Libre style. And then randomly, this giant white dude in a Philadelphia Eagles Rey Mysterio mask popped out of ringside and attacked Dominic Mysterio, helping set up for the victory. Rey getting the pinfall after a frog splash on Santos Escobar. That man ended up revealing himself to be newly retired former Philadelphia Eagles player Jason Kelce. Jason Kelce randomly helping Rey Mysterio and Andrade win the tag team match against Dirty Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Wow. I mean, the NFL was pretty well represented at at WrestleMania. George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers was in attendance in the crowd. Even music stars were in the crowd. Snoop Dogg was there. He actually had a lot to do with WrestleMania Night 2, WrestleMania Sunday. Not a whole lot, but he announced the attendance record for that night, and he actually did special guest commentary on the Philadelphia street fight. T-Pain was in the crowd. Randomly, Vanessa Hudgens of High School Musical fame was in the crowd. So yeah, the celebrities were out for WrestleMania this past weekend in Philly. Then, this one I was really sad about. I expected more from this match, especially since they're brothers and that they've always put on solid tag team matches. But this match was definitely the worst match of the weekend, and it breaks my heart to actually say this. But the brother versus brother match between Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso was just not up to snuff. It definitely fell short of expectations. They relied too much on super kicks. Super kicks, man, they used to mean something, especially when, like, Shawn Michaels, that was his finisher. The Sweet Chin Music was a super kick. Once somebody got kicked in the face with that, they weren't getting up. And now super kicks are as common as a punch or a DDT. And DDTs used to be something that if you got hit with that, you weren't getting up from that. You know, that was Jake the Snake's finisher, you know, back in the golden age of the WWE. But I mean, now it seems like super kicks are so fucking meaningless. You know, a lot of it due in part to the Young Bucks because they fucking overuse them. And definitely Jimmy and Jey Uso overused them in this match. I don't know who produced this match, but man, it definitely did not live up to expectations. I was definitely disappointed by this. Anyway, Jey did defeat Jimmy in the end with an Uso splash, but like I said, it wasn't up to snuff. Luckily, the next match kind of turned things around a bit. Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane in a losing effort against the team of Naomi, Bianca Belair, and Jade Cargill. Black excellence at its finest. Beautiful black excellence, mind you. These beautiful black queens, Cargill, Belair, and Naomi, successfully defeating Damage Control in a 6-woman tag team match. Definitely showcased Cargill. She got the pinfall victory over Dakota Kai, or was it Kairi Sane? I think it was Kairi Sane. What a great match. Jade Cargill making her WrestleMania debut the same year she made her debut at the Royal Rumble. Later this year, she'll pop up as DLC content for, that's a double negative. The C and DLC stands for content. As downloadable content for the new WWE 2K24 game in one of the packs. I can't wait for next month's pack because it's the ECW pack. CM Punk will be in that pack. The Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon. The living legend, the legend himself, the hardcore legend himself, God rest his soul, Terry Funk, and the Sandman will all be a part of that DLC pack. I can't wait for that. Anyway, this match right here, boom. Solid match right here, guys. For the Intercontinental Championship, it was like Rocky versus Drago. Oh, man, it was all the feels. Sami Zayn successfully defeated the Ring General Gunther, ending his 666-day reign as Intercontinental Champion. Sami Zayn is now a 4-time and new Intercontinental Champion, the underdog from the underground, holding singles gold once again. Congratulations to Sami Zayn on a solid fucking match. Congratulations to Gunther. Thank you, Gunther, for reestablishing the prestige and importance of the Intercontinental Championship. If his title reign had not been booked the way it was, the Intercontinental title will still be just another title. But the Intercontinental title used to mean something, especially back in the day. Triple H knows how important that title means. It meant a lot to him. He's a former Intercontinental Champion, as well as The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Eddie Guerrero, Booker T. A lot of former world champions, this was their stepping stone to the world title. Bret the Hitman Hart famously loved being Intercontinental Champion. Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, the only singles title he ever held in his tourney in the WWE was the Intercontinental Championship. Cody Rhodes, a former Intercontinental Champion as well. The Intercontinental title used to mean something, and it does once again. It is definitely one of the one of the most prestigious titles in the WWE, and now Sami Zayn is its champion. I feel like Gunther can now move on to the main event scene, possibly challenge for either the World Heavyweight or the undisputed WWE Championship at later dates. I'm looking forward to that. And then the main event of WrestleMania Night 1, the tag team match, the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns successfully defeated Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins, which made the main event for Night 2, Bloodline Rules. It was a great match. The Rock looks solid. The Rock is 51 years of age, and The Rock looked like he didn't lose a step, man. The Rock famously put on his social media platforms that he got ready for this match. Like he did like a 2-week-long training session, training camp really, with NXT stable Gallus helping him getting all the ring rust out of him and getting ready, getting him in ring shape. And The Rock looked like The Rock. The Rock was on it. He was the final boss. And The Rock pinned Cody Rhodes after a rock bottom and a people's elbow. And it was a nice little callback. Cody Rhodes sitting on, with his knees to his chest, looking disappointed that he lost the main event of WrestleMania yet again. Oh man, I gotta speed it up, guys. I only got 8 minutes left. I talked about a lot. I mean, once I get going, I get like, it's a little, me. But now we move on to WrestleMania Night 2. WrestleMania Night 2. And that was Sunday, also from Lincoln Financial Feud. Sorry, let me just, I do apologize, guys. Night 2 of WrestleMania kicked off with the World Heavyweight Championship. Drew McIntyre defeated Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Finally, Drew McIntyre, the Scottish Psychopath, was able to win a world title, his third in the WWE, his first of the World Heavyweight title. He's a former 2-time WWE champion. He was able to win a title in front of a live crowd for the very first time, because very famously Drew McIntyre was the champion during the pandemic era where there was no fans in attendance the entire time he was champion, which, it sucks that he had to suffer that, but Drew was definitely the champion that we needed at that time. He was very solid in the ring. He was, he was one of the reasons why I kept watching wrestling when it was like almost unwatchable without a live crowd in attendance. But that title reign did not last. It lasted all of 5-6 minutes because CM Punk, who was at ringside doing color commentary during the match, could not stand for being berated by Drew McIntyre. He had to get physical, and CM Punk just went at it with Drew McIntyre, just beating the crap out of Drew McIntyre. And then you hear the sounds of the Judgment Day. Here comes Damian Priest, Senior Money in the Bank. And for the second time in the Money in the Bank briefcase's history, a Money in the Bank holder cashes in at WrestleMania. The first, of course, being Seth freaking Rollins. How ironic. And Damian Priest cashed in successfully. We have a new World Heavyweight Champion, and his name is Damian Priest, Senior World Heavyweight Champion. And then the Philadelphia Street Fight with a special guest referee that was unannounced until that night. Hall of Famer Bubba Ray Dudley was the special guest referee for the Philadelphia Street Fight. The Pride, Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford successfully defeated the team of the Final Testament, Karrion Kross, Akam, and Razor in this awesome street fight of a match. This was a low-key banger of a match. This next match on the card, LA Knight defeated AJ Styles, who premiered some new awesome theme music during WrestleMania. LA Knight getting his first ever victory on his first ever WrestleMania against AJ Styles in a solid match. This was definitely one of my favorite matches of the weekend. It was really good. Like I said, it was a low-key banger. I don't think a lot of people expected this match to be as good as it was, but you got two great talents in AJ Styles and LA Knight. How could they not have a great match? I mean, it should have gone without saying, you know what I mean? In another solid match, a triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship, the co-owner of Prime Energy Drink, And still, your United States champion Logan Paul successfully defended the title against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Logan Paul still the United States champion of WWE. And I don't know who he is, but for any of my fans out there that listen to the show, that watch streamers, the man under the Prime Bottle mascot suit was iShowSpeed. I don't know who he is. I've seen his face before, but I don't watch any of his streams, but apparently he's now contracted by Prime Energy. In an awesome match, even Dave Meltzer, who is so critical of the WWE product over and over again, was saying this match's praises from top to bottom. He said this was one of the best matches he has ever seen, one of the best women's matches he's ever witnessed. Bayley defeated Io Sky to become the new WWE Women's Champion in a solid 14-minute match. Congratulations to Bayley. And I only got 3 minutes left, guys, but if I go over time, I'm going to go over a little bit of time because I got to talk about this. The Bloodline Rules match for the undisputed WWE Championship went on for a total of 33 minutes and 25 seconds. What a roller coaster ride this was, guys. It was 2 years in the making. Cody Rhodes defeated, that's right, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, defeated the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, to become the new undisputed WWE Champion. What a beautiful match this was. What a hard-hitting match this was. I could not contain my emotions when this match was over. I did tear up. I have to say, I did tear up. I put on my official Facebook page that professional wrestling is a love story, and I love professional wrestling. And it really does. It's because of moments like this. I haven't been this emotional since February of 2004, when my favorite wrestler at the time, God rest his soul, my favorite wrestler of all time, Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero, defeated Brock Lesnar to become the first ever Mexican-American WWE heavyweight champion. That is a moment I will never ever forget for as long as I live, and this one goes up there with it. I will never ever forget the night that the American Nightmare finished the story, where he became the WWE champion, the only member of the Rhodes family to be on the record books as the WWE champion. This match had everything. The last 5 minutes of this match are probably some of the most hair-pulling, anxiety-inducing moments ever, but in a good way. You had Jimmy Uso coming out there, super kicking Cody Rhodes. And then you hear Jey Uso's theme music hits, and Jimmy and Jey are going at it, and Jey spears Jimmy off the stage ramp, and it's down to Roman and Cody once again. And then all of a sudden, Samoan Spike, here comes Solo Sikoa, taking out Cody. Cody kicks out. They go for a spear, Samoan Spike combo, Roman and Solo. Cover, 1, 2, Cody kicks out. And then you hear the sounds of the horns of the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena! Out of nowhere, John Cena shows up and takes out Solo with an attitude adjustment through an announce table. Attitude adjustment to Roman Reigns. And then you hear, if you smell, and here comes the final boss. The final boss, The Rock, coming down, and he hits a rock bottom on John Cena. And then you hear Sierra, Hotel, Echo, Lima, Delta, Shield. The Shield music hits. A lot of us were going crazy. And here comes Seth, decked out in Shield gear. But he gets hit with a Superman punch from Reigns. And then Rock, holding the weight belt with Mama Rhodes' name on it, telling Cody to get up. Get up, boy! Get up! And then you hear bong. The lights go out. The crowd is going insane. The lights come back up, And standing behind the final boss is the Phenom, the Undertaker. He goozles Rock, chokeslam to the Rock. The bong, the bell hits, the lights come back up again. The Rock and Undertaker are gone. Cody is there, Roman, and Seth. A steel chair. Reigns is up. He grabs a steel chair. And he looks to hit Cody. But then he looks over to his left and he sees Seth Rollins. And he thinks back to that night. That night. After WrestleMania 30. When Seth Rollins turned on the Shield by hitting Roman in the back with a steel chair. And you think back weeks ago where Cody and Seth were in the ring on Raw, and Seth said, I will be your shield against the bloodline. And that's exactly what he did. Roman made the mistake. Instead of bashing Cody Rhodes, he took this opportunity to finally get revenge on his former Shield brother for that turn all those years ago. This is long-term storytelling, ladies and gentlemen. Boom! He hits Seth with the chair. Roman goes to the corner. Ooh, ah! He goes for the spear. Boom! Kicked in the face. Crossroads! Crossroads! And a third and final crossroads! 1, 2, 3! Your winner and new undisputed WWE champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes! Professional wrestling at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. What a beautiful weekend. What a beautiful pay-per-view. What a beautiful, beautiful time to be a professional wrestling fan. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the WrestleMania recap of the from the IE Wrestling Show. I am the SoCal Saint. Thank you for tuning in. It's been my pleasure. I will see you guys next time right here on IE Sports Radio with the IE Wrestling Show. Take care, everyone. Peace.